Can you hear me now? Okay. So then, yeah, we'll start again with the next session, our second session. So last time we have studied about the basis, why we are using Excel, how we are using Excel, the basic formulas, the basic ways to use Excel, then absolute reference and the referring then normal standard reference, all those basic things we understood about Excel. Then now we'll just deep dive into start doing about the data analysis. For data analysis, what is the things which we need, we will start learning here. Yeah, from today. So the main tab in this session, mainly we will be using the tab called data here. This is the main tab which is used to do data analysis in Excel. In this itself, we will be mainly using three functions in Excel. One is sorting, then second one is filter, then third one is actually in insert pivot table. Pivot table is actually a very useful tool to summarize the data or information from a table into a concise manner. Okay, yeah, let's start. So then you can see here I have CP scores in a row, then I have auto sold, yeah, last month it is also in a row. So if it is like a random number, so if I want to see only like the in order, like in ascending order, where the smallest number should be on top and the highest number should be on bottom, if I want to see that, I can just come here to data and I can click on this one, sort smallest to largest. You can see, so then you can see 0 0 0 it's come on first, and then 1 1, then 2 3, all this thing. So if this is for number, if you do this, if you want to do descending, that is highest on largest on top and the smallest on bottom, you can click on the bottom number set to a. You can see this, you can access this here in data, and you can access the same here in sorting also. You can here also you can access, and the third place you can access, yeah, that also I'll just tell you. Then if we, that is for number. So if it is comes to text, what will happen is in data, if you go, if you just come here, it will just sort A to Z. So A will be on top, then Z will be on bottom. Same with below, if then Z will be on top, A will be on below. So that is based on the based on our dictionary, how we are doing in dictionary. So these both are actually single columns, so it is very easy to sort. Like for example, if I want to sort here, there are two columns. So like for example, if I sort this one, I can see multiple Chevys are there, car names. I can see multiple Chevys are there, but here this is not in sorting order, it is in a random place it is coming. But if I want to see like in Chevy, which is the highest and which is the lowest, I need to sort this also, right? So how can we do that? For that there are two ways. One is, so first, so our order is like first auto, then under that auto ascending, then amount descending, right? Ascending and descending, right? So then how we need to do is, we need to come from below. So that first we need to do amount descending, then we need to do auto ascending. Then what we can see, Chevy is come together. Here it is in descending order, the smallest is coming below and highest is coming above. You can do this in a different way. If I just go, you can do this in different way. If you comes to insert, in sort filter option, custom sort one option is there. If you click on that, sort by, auto sort A to Z, then add a second. So in that after sorting this auto sold last month, what we need to do, we need to sort by amount. We'll just do large. So we are giving a sequence. So how we wrote this sequence, same way we are giving a sequence to sort. If I click OK, the same formula, you can see Chevy on top, then it is in descending order. If you want to do in ascending order, same thing, custom sort, expand. So you can see, right, when I give expand, it took the entire formula. Why means this is a proper data set, means it has a heading, and then all the columns and rows are filled. There is no blank row. Then around the table you can see everything is in blank. So the Excel understood that this is a data set which we are using. So yeah, what we are doing, if we are largest to small, instead of that we can give small to large, or you can do this one, the descending order for. You can see Toyota. What is Toyota? From which is the smallest selling Toyota and the largest one. So you can see that sorting can give us multiple ways. Sorting can help us to get the data largest, smallest, and multiple scenarios. We can use this sorting to get our data. Then same with sorting, there is another function called filter. So here, like this, we have a data with around 7,000 rows. If I did control down, 7,000 filters, sorry, 7,000 rows we have a data. Now in this we need to find one, like for example Lisa, where, or Karina, where the sales is more than 400. How we will try to find? We can do like sorting and find, then in between the data we will try to find Karina, right? So instead of that, there is another option. You can just click on the heading of the table and come here and click filter. You can see a button came in the side of that column. That is actually called a filter button. If we just come here, you can see there are multiple options. So since I am using MacBook, so the UI is different, but in Excel it will be a little bit different, but functions are almost same. So you can see that there will be sorting. This is the third option for sorting. I can sort here, descending, ascending, both I can do sorting here. I'm just clicking back, come here, then I can do filter by sort by color. If there was a color, I can do sort. Filter by color I can do. Then I can do multiple options, equals to, so something if I can write, then does not equals to, then begins with, it does not begin. Multiple options I have. So now let's do with one thing. I want Karina, only Karina's data. Okay. So you can see here, since I have did a sort, here the normal, it was actually black and white, the numbers, but from the range of sorting you can see the number changed, number color changed. So this is to indicate that this has been sorted. And even the first it was 12, then after that became 15, then after 29, after 81. You can see in between also there are rows, but that is hidden because we have did a filter for only Karina. So let's see, if I want only above 400, I can do one thing, choose one greater than. Since this is a number column, it is showing greater than equal to, lesser than. But if it is a date, if I come here and see date, this option, it will show before, after, tomorrow, today, which is related to dates. If I come here to product, which is having text, if I come here, it will show equals to, that is always text begins with, that text begins with P, G, A, I can give. So these all are based on the column, what data type we have the column, the options which we have to use also will differ. So that is how Excel is giving us a help in that. So greater than 400 if I type, or if I want another option, if I want lesser than 500 also, if I want. So first this is actually greater than 400. You can see there are 92 rows. If I want lesser than 450 also, So not only one, lesser than 450. Then I can do a second condition. So this, from the 920 we again filtered it to 21. So you can see immediately we can get to C. Or if you want to, instead of lesser than this 450, instead of some product, like you want to see product of this one, so this product on which dates, how many, which was the sales. Or if you don't want this filter also, you want to see all the products, you can see. So this is how filter works. Or if you want to see on a particular date, how many product of this, so like for example January, particular month, this is only January. If January, this many line items was sold, so what is the total in January? I can see 15,000. One second. Okay, same way, this is only for January. Then if you want again deep dive, instead of January, first, what we have sold in first Carolina, these three people are sold for the these prices. So like that we can do multiple analysis based on this, based on using filter. If you have a huge data where we cannot see entire data at a time, sorting and filter. So these are one of the two main options which we will use when you get a huge data set to get to know the values. Then next one is next table. This is actually called pivot table. So this is very so we have a huge data, so we want to summarize the data. So for that, this pivot table is used. So same as all the ways, first of all, to get the to use the pivot table, we should have a proper data. The database should have proper heading. If any heading is blank, pivot table will not work, because pivot table is based on the headings. Then there should not be any blank rows. Then after this data, there should be blank cells everywhere. If I want to check if it is blank cell on column E, I just click control down, so till 10 lakh rows, the last row it came. So that means there is no data in between. If I just click again to next column D or C and control up, it will go up till the last row of our data. Then I am clicking again. So you can see this day. So this is a general data with the date wise, region wise, say sales done by each sales rep. So if I want to, if I have like this previous data filter, if I have multiple 7,000 8,000 rows, I cannot see what is happening, right? So for that, this pivot table is used. So how we can just do, select anywhere in our database, go to insert, then click on pivot. Then we will see a option to create the pivot table. So you can see this pivot table has automatically selected the data, that because our data was a proper data. It has a heading, and there was MD cells everywhere. There was no rows missing. That is why it choose the data properly. So now next option is actually where this pivot table should it create a new sheet, or should it show in a existing place. So I am creating existing place and I am just selecting here, then I am clicking OK. You can see an option came. Now in the right side you can see option came. This will have the column names and if there are fields. So these four fields, what it is actually, filter is used for, like for example if I just drag this date here, then a date filter will come. Then I can filter which dates I want to see in my database. If I put this date in row, it will show those in rows, so that like then I'll just put sales in value. Then whatever something you put in value will become like a aggregate. Like then what happens, based on this row, what we are giving on row, it will take this value. So like for example on 20th of October we had a sales of 4,600. This essentially is a sum of the sales. Like for example we have filter options, right? So I am just giving a filter and I am seeing 20th, right? So I am just clicking 20th and I am seeing the sum. So it is 4,600 again, same as what it was showing in the filter, in the pivot table. You can see 4,600. So pivot table will give us the summary in a much faster way of a huge data. That is the main use of a pivot table. Then we can see on 21st what was it, on 22nd what was our sales, 24th what was our sales, 25th what was our sales. Same way I am just copying this pivot. If you copy the entire pivot and if you paste it down, you can use this again. It makes a second pivot based on the same data. So I'm, instead of date, I am just giving, let's see, region. Then you can see on each region wise what was the sales happen. Then again the last one, and I'm again copying the entire table and pasting below. So instead of region I'm giving sales rep. So sales rep became in the value, that's why it became count. So if I just drag it to the rows, you can see now June this much, Chin this much, Freddy this much. You can see this data immediately. What is the data telling? You can see using the pivot table. And now this is actually the base. Now if you want to edit this, like what percentage of the sale, like for example if you wanted to see what percentage of the sale, or this heading is not what you like, or this row heading what you don't like. So like instead of row I want to see the date. So what I can do is I can just come here, field setting, I can go, you can see here heading, I can just give some of this one. Instead of that I can just give sales, and if I click OK, you can see this heading became sales. If you want to change this rows to dates, you can just directly click on that, and on top a row table just click dates. You can see dates and sales. And if you want to make these values like in a percentage of what you are showing, again come here, sales, field settings, and summarize. Just now we have summarized based on count. So summarize based on summarize based on sum. So if you want average, what is the average sales happen? So on this day there was average sales of 658, and you want to see what is the count of sales. Let's put again another sales. Instead of sum, let's put count. You can see there was 7 sales happened that day. 7 sales happened, and average sales is actually 658. There was 4 sales and average is 628. Then there is only one sale and it was 596. And if you want to see this total sum, and again same. So, and if you want to see the shares, I am putting again the sales. So I am using the same column to get multiple outputs, like show this data, and I can do calculations like difference of percentage of running total. Then let's see, I am putting column total. So I am giving a, so this was our column total. Out of this column total, what percentage was the sales? There are multiple options we can utilize in pivot, in pivot table. So this is a small portion which we can, which I am just showing here. Field setting, I am just going data type and I am removing it, no calculation, and changing this to sales. Okay, so like for example, now you have seen you want to do formatting, like just num settings. I can just go here and you can see there are multiple options of doing formatting here. If you want decimals, you can put. If you want, if it's a currency, you can put currency, or if you can accounting value, date, then time, percentage, custom you can do 0%. I can just give .00 or .0. .0 means only the value will come. If I give 000, how many decibels you want, you can give. All these options are there. You can just explore all these options. So these are the basis of the pivot. What pivot is used generally. Then let me just go to the next one and I will show you. So here we have seen with one value. So let me just come here and I will show you another ways of pivot. So like for example, if you want to see on a particular date in the northwest region, what was the sales? That's actually 2. Here all the pivot happened based on one criteria, right? One criteria. Now we will see based on 2 criteria how the pivot will happen. Just same as again, I am just clicking one place, going to insert pivot. It automatically took the entire database because it is a proper database. Then I am just giving an existing source. I am clicking here. You can see it's so I am just giving a date range, that into rows, and then I am giving a region in columns. So you can see what it has made. In the rows, all the dates was aligned, unique dates, and in column all the regions got aligned. So if I put the sales in values, you can see that 4606 which we saw earlier, it got divided into regions, which regions it was sold. Now if you want to do another filter, like instead of date, if you want date should be a filter, and you want sales rep. So on a particular date, which sales rep did and which regions it did, you can see on 20 instead of 20, you can just 22. You can see, right? So I'm just giving this date filter, and I'm removing it. Instead of that, I'm just giving date. Yeah. So same thing, like for example, now you have this grand total. You don't want to see this grand total. Then you can go into this design. This is where we can design the pivot table. We can give highlights to the pivot table. You can show the row headings, all those things, like column headers. then banded rows, then banded columns, all those extra options. Like for example, if you don't want the grand total, you can see off for turn off a grand total 4 rows and column, on 4 rows and column, on only 4 rows, on only 4 column. If I give only 4 column, you can see grand total of column got disappeared. Then only for row, then you can see a row is there but column was disappeared. If I just come here and turn off all, you can see both got. So now I am just keeping both. Then there is another option for layouts. So now it is in a layout of combat. So there is another layout outlook, and there is another layout of tabular form. This tabular form, all layouts are much used when there are 2 data in rows, 2 columns in row. You can see this is how table will come. It looks like a table. Like you can see here, total is coming. If you don't want the total, you can see now the total is gone. So this is how table will come. So if you want the outline, so there will be a 1 line gap and all the things will come under. See if we can just do collapse and see the total. So if you want to show somebody some data, you can just show like this, and whichever days they want, they can just come and see the details of the day. So these are the main uses of a pivot. And I am just removing this sales rep. So yeah, so now whatever you have seen in this, so now further days we will just learn more about the pivot, like multiple options in pivot, then how to handle data, then in design what all other, like for example here we can give multiple coloring to suit our value, suit our need. All this in detail we will just see later. You can explore now, just explore the pivot and give multiple options. Using this table, what all data you can see, and use this field settings and see what all these things are there, and give multiple formats and see how it is working. Here also field setting, and there are all these things which I shown here. You can do here summarize by value, show value as a grand total. You can see percentage of your grand total, summarize by grand total, summarize by parent total, then there is actually pivot table options. All these are actually, then a pivot table options, field settings, same thing which we have seen from here. All these options you just check and you try to understand. So then next time you can ask me any doubts which you have in this pivot table and in sorting or in filtering. Like sorting we can do filter, and sorting you can do from here. Like once you did sorting you can do clear, once you did filter you can clear, or you can do a reapply, or you can do advanced filters also. All these options you just explore, and whatever doubts you come across, you just ask me in the Q&A, and then I will ping you as soon as possible.